Hi, this is Dan Encell with Berkshire Hathaway. Today is Monday, December 1st. Lots of headlines, both national, California, and then local. So we'll sort of buzz through them and focus on the important ones here. First one, inventory continues its comeback in October, but not all buyers will benefit equally. So we're seeing nationwide, we're seeing inventory levels rise. They're up about 16% compared to a year ago, so that part's good. But what we're finding is they tend to be the top third of the market in terms of prices. We're seeing more inventory levels build up there than in the lower segments of the market. So high-end buyers are seeing more selection, low-end buyers still not much selection out there. Fixed mortgage rates dip just below 4%. What a great combination. You've got a booming stock market, low interest rates, and rising inventory. It should be really good for real estate. And the headlines confirm that. Existing home sales rise in October. First year-over-year increase since October of 2013. So again, we're seeing the number of sales increases. We've seen increases in prices for quite a while, but now we're seeing the number of sales increase there. Next headline, home price gains hold steady in majority of metro areas in the third quarter. So again, the rate of appreciation is declining there. Almost all of the markets in the country are seeing rates right now about 5% or less higher than they were a year ago, but still higher than they were a year ago. So again, the rate of appreciation has slowed quite a bit. It's becoming a much more neutral market out there right now. Looking forward, pending home sales slow in October but remain higher than a year ago. So there was a drop in pending sales, which are properties that are in escrow but haven't closed yet, in October compared to September, but that's sort of seasonal. You would expect that. September tends to be a busier month than October. But pending sales for October this year compared to October a year ago are above what they were a year ago and still at very healthy levels. So that all looks good. So as a nationwide, it looks pretty good for the market there. Again, we're seeing an increase in inventory, and we're seeing a flattening out of prices, but still very, very low interest rates, so very attractive on a national level. What's happening in California? California October home sales. There were about almost 37,000 sales in October of 2014. That's up 1.4% compared to September and up about 1% compared to a year ago. Just to put it in perspective for the last 20 years or so, where that 37,000 figure fits in, the lowest we've ever had for an October is around 26,000, and that was in 2007, sort of right when the market started to turn downward. The highest we've had in October was over 70,000 in 2003. So again, we're about, 30% above our lows, but we're at half of what we would be during our peaks in terms of number of transactions for that time there. And again, historically, we're down about probably 20-25% compared to what's average for an October there. Home prices, 382,000, down 1.8% compared to September, but up about 8% compared to a year ago there. That figure of 382,000 is about 21% below the peak for a median price in October, which was in 2007, and that was 484,000. So again, we're heading in the right direction, but we're still significantly below our peak, both in volume of transaction and in pricing in California. Let's go specifically to Southern California. Southern California home sales dipped to 3-year low. Smaller year-over-year gain for median sale price. So slowest pace for an October in 3 years in Southern California. But again, we had some booming years there, so it's not a bad market, but not as good as it was. The median price fell month over month, and the gain over a year ago was the smallest gain there's had in 28 months, which again shows a market that is flattening out there. Good news, the foreclosures, 4.8% of the overall market in October. That's down from 6.3% a year ago. And again, just to put it in perspective, the peak of the market In 2009, for foreclosures, 56% of the market was foreclosures. So it was, we're down to almost insignificant levels there. Another headline, high-end home sales are surging in Southern California. So even though the market is just sort of treading water right now in Southern California, the highest end of the market is booming. $2 million plus sales, looks like it's going to be the highest on record, and $10 million plus sales, it's going to double what the best record ever was, it looks like. We're on pace for that. So what we've got is you've got a really strong stock market, lots of cash, and lots of foreign investment coming here. So again, the highest end of the market is doing incredibly well. The market itself is doing good over there. What's happening in Santa Barbara? In Santa Barbara here along the south coast, in November, we had 154 new listings. That's pretty consistent with a year ago. Down probably about 10% compared to the last few years, what we've had during that in terms of new inventory coming on. The number of sales, 142 closed sales. Again, very consistent with last year. We had 149, but also probably about 10% below what we've had the last couple of years there. Pending sales, 159. That is actually up compared to a year ago, but also lower than it's been the last couple of years. What's happening in Montecito? New listings, 23, fairly consistent if you break down what we've been averaging the last few years over in November. But the number of solds, closed sales, only 9. That's the second lowest we've had in the last 10 years or so during any month there. The lowest was 8. So definitely very low in terms of number of sales there. But pending sales, so forward looking, looks pretty good. We've got 18 properties in escrow right now, and that's very consistent what we've had the last couple of years during November there. So just to recap, nationwide looking very good, inventory levels building, the highest end of the market much more active than other segments of the market, but interest rates still very, very low. California, again, the highest end of the market is doing very, very well. The rest of the market seems very neutral. It seems like we've hit our peak there and we've plateaued. Locally, same story there. Need more inventory. Definitely would have more sales if we had more inventory. Lots of buyers looking for properties locally, just not enough inventory to satisfy it. There you go.